Hello and thank you for watching Jamie TV. Welcome to another NuRack video. In my last video I turned NuRack's clip launcher into a drum module and called it the Drumulator. Since that video I've programmed a whole song's worth of drum MIDI into another 4Pockets app, DigiKeys, and I sent that MIDI information into NuRack, into the Drumulator, and recorded that to another 4Pockets app, Multitrack, and thus turned it into real audio. So now that I've got a full song's worth of real audio drums, let's not pissy pants about. Let's take a look at another module that I built. It would be fair to say that keyboards are not my number one instrument. In fact, they're not my second or third. In fact, of all the instruments that I play, they're probably way down at the bottom of the list, maybe just above singing. Although I do that too, much to some people's dismay. But I just wanted you to hear this module that I built, which I call Roadie, after one of my favourite superheroes. I wanted you to hear it standalone, although you will be hearing it in the track a little bit later on. Let's get it on screen so I can break it down for you and show you what modules I used to make it. So here we're looking at Roadie in presentation mode, but if I just double click here, we come out of presentation mode and into builder mode. And if I go and click on this builder mode icon, that takes us to connection mode, and if I zoom out, you can see the three individual modules that I used to build Roadie with. Now, zooming back in and just scooting over to the right here, we have a gorgeous sounding reverb, which kind of speaks for itself, and a gorgeous sounding chorus, which speaks for itself. But I want to say a little more to you about this module here, the Simple MIDI FM Rhodes. With NuRack, Paul included some instrument modules, which he said his intent wasn't that they would be used so much as instruments themselves, but as sound sources for when you're using one of the modules like the vocoder or the Talkbox, where you need a sound source as well as needing an input for your vocal mic. But I've found that these instruments, although they are all very simple in their makeup, actually sound really nice when used as a simple instrument, particularly this one, and you'll hear how effective it can sound in the track a little bit later on. Now it's time to take a look at the Talkbox module. Do-do-wop, wop, wop, do-do-wop. Wah-da-wop, do-do-wah-da-wop. Do-do-wop, wop, wop, do-do-wop. Wah-da-wop, do-do-wah-da-wop. So here's my Globulator module in presentation mode, which I'm just going to come out of with a double click and come out of builder mode so that we can have a look at the modules that I've bolted together to make the Globulator. Over here we have an overdrive/distortion module, which I'm using because I want the guitar sound that hits the Talkbox to be a dirty sound. There's the Talkbox, which we'll come back to in a moment, and I just have a delay, a reverb, and some LEDs added here. Alright, now the Talkbox. First thing we need to talk about here is the connections. So I'm just going to come out of here for a moment. Now I'm using an iTrack dock, which gives me two inputs into the iPad. On the left input here, I have my guitar coming in. Now, it doesn't have to be a guitar, it could be a synthesizer which you could be playing in live, as it were, or you could maybe even have a synth that you're sending some MIDI to from something like DigiKeys. So that could be playing the synth back for you, and you could just concentrate on the vocalizations. The guitar comes into the chain at this end, into the overdrive, and gets distorted, and then it hits the Talkbox, which kind of acts like a gate. Imagine that the guitar is coming to the Talkbox, and unless I'm doing something with my mouth, then no sound is coming through. More on that in a moment. So my microphone is coming in here on a separate channel, and here we're hitting a multi-audio bus instance of NuRack. Now I already have that open, so let me just bob over to this free one here and show you how to do that. So you would go here, go to multibus audio unit instances and select NuRack, and then you would make sure that it's set up like this: input bus 2, output bus 2, and that will send your vocalizations to NuRack, and your voice will come in here on bus B. The Talkbox then blends those two signals together on this wet control here. Now the way I like this to be set up is I take the dry control all the way down, because the dry control is the voice. With the dry control all the way up, you can hear my natural voice. So I could be, if I'm not playing the instrument, I could maybe be singing the song in my normal voice, and then when I play the instrument, that will bring in the wet control, which will be a blend of the vocalization and the instrument. So I would set up the Talkbox like this if I wanted to, say for instance, scat along with the guitar line that I'm playing, but then you would have to try to sing in tune. But the way that I would normally set it up, and the way that I have it set up for this recording you've been hearing during this video, is I would take the dry control all the way down so that we're just hearing the blend of the two instruments. Now when it works like that, when you have the dry control all the way down, what happens is, if you imagine it like the vocal is gated and the guitar is gated, and you will only get sound through this module when you do both things at the same time, and that's when you get this really cool effect.
Now we can make those really cool sounds. Let's let some reverb. Everything sounds better with reverb. Reverb for the win. Let's start delay.
And now a little word of warning about Talkboxes. If you're using a pedal type Talkbox, then your instrument goes into the side of the pedal, and when it's activated, the sound comes up the tube as an actual physical sound. If you wish, you can speak into or sing into the tube, but all you really need to do, because it's an actual physical thing coming into your mouth, is make crazy shapes with your mouth. Move your mouth to shape those vocalizations that you desire, which will then come out the other side of the pedal and go off to be amplified. This is what often leads to guitar players making demented guppy type faces on stage. Now, Talkboxes are wonderful, but the pedal type can be somewhat problematic. For a start, they're very, very prone to feedback. Secondly, the tube is very easily damaged, and they are really difficult to sort of transport around a tour, around doing a lot of gigs without them getting damaged, and can be very, very difficult to replace, and they do break pretty easily. So this makes the idea of a software Talkbox pretty attractive. So let me tell you the slight issue with software Talkboxes. When I say software Talkbox, I actually mean specifically this one that I've been using in NuRack, because I've never used any others. I don't even know if there are any others. If there are other software Talkboxes available on iOS that you're aware of, then please comment below the video and let me know. I would love to know. So basically, I said the wrong thing. Apologies, I'm a stupid old hippie. Let me get to the point. Here's my concern about this particular Talkbox, right? There's no tube involved. So in order to open that gate and make that vocalization sound that you're after, you have to actually make a sound into the microphone. If you just sit there making faces and no sound, nothing's going to happen. Oh, and by the way, I've found that it works best if you use a live type of microphone rather than like a studio vocal type of mic. It's just more effective. Don't fall off there. Right, so what was I on about? Okay, so you have to actually make a sound. The situation is going to be this, right? So you're in your studio, you've got all set up with your Talkbox, you've got your studio speakers off probably because you're using a microphone, so you've got your headphones on. And if you're like me, you've probably got it turned up pretty loud. So you can't actually hear what you're doing with your mouth, which doesn't really matter because you'll be hearing this fantastic sound that you're creating because you're making your silly sounds with your mouth and you're playing your instrument, and the instrument determines the note, not the vocal, right? So as long as you can play your instrument, then every note is going to be perfectly in pitch, right? Now here comes the snag. You're making crazy vocal noises and it's sounding awesome in here. But if anyone else outside can hear you, someone's passing by your studio door or whatever, they can't hear what's in your headphones. All they can hear is this crazy person making wildly out of pitch note, because what happens when you can't hear yourself sing or you can't hear your own vocals is you immediately go wildly out of tune because you can't pitch that way, right? So all they can hear outside is you making crazy noises. Other than that, if you can live with that, then this is a fantastic bit of software. It sounds awesome, it's loads of fun to mess about with. It didn't take me long to figure out how to use it, and let's face it, I'm not the brightest bulb. So this comes very, very highly recommended from me. I mean, I would say that this one module alone, if this was one app in the App Store, I'd pay 20 quid for this, easy, without thinking about it. And this is just one of many modules in NuRack. So if you don't own NuRack yet, go buy it now. Just by way of needing to make some music to demonstrate NuRack with, I've arrived at a half-finished track that I'm quite enjoying. So I think what I'm going to do is, in my next video, I'm going to carry on developing this track, and I will use some more modules from NuRack so that I can demonstrate them to you. So if there's anything about NuRack that you'd like to know, if there's anything you'd like to see demonstrated, any questions, any problems, then comment below or email me. My address is down there. My social media is down there. You can contact me on any platform you like and I will respond, and I'll either answer you in the next video or I'll answer you directly, whatever seems most appropriate. But I'm here to help. That's what I want to do. So I'm going to leave it there for now because I'm starving and I want to go and get my dinner. The modules that I've been using in this video will, as usual, be available from my Patreon account if you'd like to download them, and you can sign up for that for as little as £1 a month. So until the next video, please take care of yourselves, and get stuck into making some iOS music. Don't pissy pants about though. If you need any help, if you get stuck, then feel free to contact me. See you later.